Hello children, welcome back. So today I will be discussing the remaining topic that has been left out in your chapter 1, that is reproduction in living organisms. So this will be a part 2 of your first lesson. I have already completed the part 1 where you have learned clearly about what is reproduction, what is asexual reproduction and what are the types of asexual reproduction. So in this class we will be discussing about the sexual reproduction alone. So with this chapter will be over. You know that you will be having your July monthly test by 10th. So your portion will be chapter 1 fully. So reproduction in living organisms fully you are going to write for your test. So it's your duty to sit and learn. So whatever the 2 marks and 5 marks you can get out of these 2 videos, you just note it down and you just learn it very thoroughly. Okay. So in this class, if you listen, the remaining part will be very easy, right? So we can get into the topic now. So first one, what is sexual reproduction? You have already learned what is sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? It is a fusion of male and female where both the parents are involved, where 2 parents are involved. That is what known as the sexual reproduction. Look into this diagram now. So I have given a male gamete and a female gamete. Okay. So fusion of male gamete and a female gamete, this we will tell it as a sexual reproduction, and the term that we give for this, it's syngamy or fertilization. Okay, the fusion of male gamete and the female gamete, we will call them as a syngamy, either the fusion of nucleus, that is syngamy means fusion of nucleus, right? Or it can be termed as a fertilization process. So here male gamete fuses with the female gamete. So both the gametes get fused together. It results in the formation of zygote. It is a new individual, right? So here you can see the diagram. I have given the example. Male gamete I have given sperm as an example. Female gamete I have given the ovum or the egg. So this sperm will go and fuse with ovum, and both the sperm and the ovum are haploid in nature. They are having single N, haploid, right? So when they two combine together, what will be the resulting one? 2N, that is the diploid, okay, diploid, diploid, 2, okay, di means 2. So haploid sperm and haploid ovum results in the formation of zygote, which is a diploid, N plus N, 2N, right? So this is the concept of your sexual reproduction process. What is the term that we give for this fusion of gametes? It is known as syngamy or fertilization process. I hope this concept is very clear now, right? So next one. Based on the place where the fertilization occurs, we are just categorizing into 2 types. One is external fertilization, another one is internal fertilization. So external means, you know, it is external, so it is outside the body of the female. So here the external word means that the fertilization is taking place outside the female body, whereas internal means the fertilization takes place inside the body of the female. So I have given some examples. See here clearly. It will be easy for you to understand. So you can see the mating of frogs where the sperm and the egg are laid inside the water. So these frogs are just laying their gametes outside. So the male is releasing the sperm outside and the female is also releasing the egg outside. So both the sperm and egg, it's getting fused in the water rather in the body of the female. So here the fertilization is termed as the external fertilization. Okay, here the fertilization is not happening inside the body of the female. They both are not responsible, right? So both the sperm and the egg, it is just released outside in the water. In the water the fertilization takes place. So this type of fertilization is known as external fertilization. So next method, if you see internal, it will be just opposite to that of the external. So the internal means it takes place inside the body of the female. So I have given the example of human beings. So for human beings, the fertilization takes place inside the body of the female. So I have given, see the diagram. The sperm enters the female reproductive part and it just goes and reaches the egg which is already present inside, and it will just go and fuse with the egg in the fallopian tube, anywhere in the fallopian tube. So this is what the fertilization process that is happening. So here all these process, the fusion of egg and sperm will occur inside the body of the female. So this is what termed as a internal fertilization. I hope this is very clear now, right? So these are the 2 types of fertilization. And next one. And now the kinds of syngamy. So we are having different kinds of syngamy based on different organisms. We are just going to learn about the 7 types of syngamy here. So pedogamy, merogamy, isogamy, autogamy, anisogamy, hologamy and exogamy. So don't think that this will be very difficult. If you listen, these definitions are very easy to remember. Okay, I'll just tell you in a very simpler way so that you can easily understand all these different kinds of syngamy terms, right? So if you don't listen, it will be just confusing for you. So just listen to the next slides now. First, I am going to compare the autogamy and exogamy because it is just contrast to each other, so it will be easy for you to remember. So auto, first I will go with the autogamy. Auto means what? Self. It can do by itself. So here, this type of fertilization process, that is the syngamy process, the male and the female gamete will be produced by the same organism. Okay, the same organism, a single organism is there, single animal or a single organism is there. That particular organism itself is producing both the male gamete as well as the female gamete by itself. So this is otherwise called as self fertilization process also. So here the male gamete and the female gamete is produced by the same animal or the same organism. So ultimately the organism should be a bisexual organism. Why? Bisexual means what? Two. Bi means two. So both the male and the female sex is present in the same animal. That is what the bisexual organism. So only if both the male and the female is present in the same animal, the organism can produce the male and the female gamete, right? So this type of organism can produce the male and the female gamete in the same animal. So the fusion of this male and female gamete will tell it as a autogamy. You can see the example of paramecium which I have given in the slide, right? And come to the right part, exogamy. So the exogamy means it is just opposite to that of autogamy. If you see, the male and the female gametes are produced by different parents here. So two different parents are there. Male is separate, female is separate, not like autogamy. In autogamy, male and female is present in the same animal, but here it is different. Male is separate and female is separate. So two parents are there. It is a biparental one. And here this organism will be a unisexual organism. Uni means what? Single, single sex. So either it should be a male or it should be a female. So the male will give the male gamete, female will give the female gamete. So this type of fusion of the male and the female gamete is known as exogamy, right? So these two is very clear now. Now I am just going to compare these two, isogamy and anisogamy. Iso means similar, okay? Iso means similar or identical, whereas aniso means it is different, okay? Or dissimilar or different. So when you see here isogamy, the fusion of physiologically and morphologically identical gametes. So I have given the example, see the diagram, two gametes I have given, plus and minus. So both are looking same in their appearance, right? So in their morphology they are looking same, and when we are seeing about their physiology, you see there both are having the tail. It represents that they are motile, okay? Motile means what? They can move, right? So both the gametes can move, so they are morphologically same and they are also physiologically same. So this type of gametes are known as isogametes. So when these two gametes fuse, that process we will tell it as a isogamy. And see in the second scenario in B, there is also a same appearance. Morphology is same for both the gametes. And when you see there is no tail for both the gametes, so both the gametes are non-motile, so that is also similar. So this type of gamete is also going to be an isogamete, and if they fuse, that is going to be a isogamy. Now it is very easy for you, right? And next, if you see this side, anisogamy, the fusion of dissimilar gametes. So first if you see the A, one gamete is totally different. Male is totally different, it is very small. Female, if you see, it is very big, it is having motility, whereas male is also having motility, but the appearance is different. So female is little bigger than the male. And if you see B scenario, female is not having the motility factor, whereas male is small but it is having the motility. Whereas if you see the last option C, female is not having any motility but it is bigger in size. Male is also not having motility but it is smaller in size. So either in physiological or morphological appearance there will be some differences between the gametes. So this type of gametes will be coming under the anisogamy. Okay, if these two gametes fuse together, that is what we will tell it as a anisogamy. So isogamy and anisogamy is clear now, right? So now I'll move on to the next one, hologamy. What do you mean by this hologamy? The organism itself acts as a gamete and fuse to form the new individual. For example, take an example of any yeast, okay, or some other organism. Hologamy, you can take an example of Trichonympa. Okay, so here what happens? The organism itself will be acting as a gamete. There is no particular separate gamete that is being there in the particular organism. The organism itself is acting as a gamete, and both the organism will come and fuse together and they will just form the zygote and the new individual will be formed. You can see the diagram is very clear, right? So here in hologamy, there is no separate gametes that is going to be formed. The organism itself is a gamete. It will go and fuse with another one and it will form the newer individual. So this is what about the hologamy. And then pedogamy. What do you mean by this pedogamy is sexual union of young individuals produced immediately after the division of the parent cell. So first what happens, a parent cell is dividing, right? First a parent cell is dividing, and then what happens, the divided daughter cells, suddenly it gets matured, and that two daughter cells is now going to exchange their material. So that two daughter cells will now act as a male and the female gamete, and it will result in the zygote. If you see the diagram, it will be very clear. So first see, the ancestor individuals, first it is going to divide, so it is just separating into two, and later what happens, each daughter will undergo the maturation division and it will form into a matured one, and later the left one and the right one both will be acting as a male and the female. Either the left one will be a male or the right one will be a female. Here in this diagram, the left one is the male, okay, it acts as a male, and the right one acts as a female, and they both now they unite together and they results in the formation of zygote. So this type of union, okay, so the individuals which are produced by the parent division, once they are produced, they will just fuse together and they will just form a zygote. So this type will be called as pedogamy, right? Now you understood this pedogamy, right? Next, merogamy. Merogamy means what? The fusion of small sized and morphologically different gametes. So here the gametes will be very small, and they will also differ in their morphology, differ in their structure. So A is different, B is different. So this is what known as the merogamy process, okay? And now we have finished all these kinds of syngamy. It's very easy for you to understand, right? So now we will move on to the next type, that is conjugation process. So this is nothing but a temporary union, okay? This conjugation, you can tell it as a temporary union of two individuals, okay? But this should be a same species. So two individuals of a same species will unite together, particularly for a temporary period, and this type of method of transferring the material between them, we will tell it as a conjugation process. So see here, I have given an example of bacteria conjugating here. So if you see the diagram, donor cell and the recipient cell, you can see. So the donor cell has a plasmid, so that plasmid is getting transferred into the recipient cell through the formation of a structure that is called as pili, okay? So with the help of this pili, the donor plasmid will be transferred to the recipient cell. So this is what the actual conjugation process. Just know what is conjugation, okay? So both the organism coming together, and one donor, it is just forming a pilus with the second organism, and there is a bridge that is formed. Through that bridge pilus, that material, the nuclear material is being transferred. The DNA is being transferred from one donor cell to the recipient cell, and the DNA gets multiplied inside the recipient cell. So this is what the actual conjugation process is. So conjugation is nothing but the temporary union of two individuals of the same species, okay? So they just exchange their materials. If you see the microscopic view, it will be like this. So it will be just a connection between the bridge between the two bacteria, okay? So this is what the conjugation. Next, the phases of life. So every organism has different phases in their life cycle. So I have given three phases here. It is common for all living organisms. So three phases. From the birth till the death, the organism is having three main phases in their life cycle. So what are the phases? Juvenile or vegetative phase. It is the phase from the birth till the reproductive age. So from your birth till you attain your sexual maturity or reproductive maturity, that period will be telling it as a juvenile phase, right? And after the juvenile phase, once you attain the sexual maturity, we'll be calling that particular phase as a reproductive or maturity phase, okay? So after this reproductive or maturity phase, it is getting into a phase called a senescent phase. So it is the old age phase. So after the senescent, ultimately it leads to death. So from the birth till the death, we are having three phases of our life cycle, right? So next, the types of breeding animals. So we are now going to categorize the breeding animals into two types. One is seasonal, another one is continuous. So what is this seasonal and what is this continuous? Seasonal breeders, this type of animals will reproduce only at a particular period of the year, particular season alone. So for example, you can take frog. So they will reproduce only at a particular season. Whether you come to this side, continuous breeders. Continuous breeders, they will be breeding all throughout the year. So you will be getting eggs all throughout the year. For example, poultry. So these type of animals, they will be continuously breeding throughout the year. So these are the two types of breeding animals that you are going to learn here. So first one is seasonal. So they will be breeding only at the particular seasons, whereas continuous breeders, they will be breeding throughout the year. Okay. And now we are moving on to the next topic, that is parthenogenesis. So what is this parthenogenesis? Parthenos means virgin. So the word parthenos means virgin. You know what is the meaning of word virgin? So here the egg is not going to get fertilized, but the egg will develop into a new individual. So without any fertilization process that is happening, the egg will have the ability to develop into a new individual in case of parthenogenesis. So this parthenogenesis was first discovered by Charles Burnett in 1745, and here we are having two types of parthenogenesis. One is natural, another one is artificial. Natural means it is occurring naturally in the life cycle of an organism. Artificial means by man. So we are inducing something. So we are doing any physical stimuli, we are giving any physical stimuli or chemical stimuli to the particular egg to get developed into a newer organism. So this is what the two types of parthenogenesis. So in case of natural parthenogenesis, you are having complete parthenogenesis and incomplete parthenogenesis. What is this complete and what is this incomplete? So when an organism is completely dependent only on this parthenogenesis process, that is no other go for that particular organism to reproduce, means that is going to be a complete one. For example, the organism will not have any other methods of reproduction. Only the process parthenogenesis is going to happen and it's going to give the new individuals in case of that particular organism. So that is what known as the complete parthenogenesis. Whereas in case of incomplete parthenogenesis, both the sexual reproduction also occurs and parthenogenesis also occurs. Suppose take an example of a honeybee. So in case of honeybee, the fertilized egg, that is the fertilization, normal sexual reproduction will be happening and the fertilized egg will get developed into a queen bees and the worker bees. And this unfertilized egg that is there, it will get developed into a male bee with the help of this parthenogenesis process. So parthenogenesis is also happening there, as well as the sexual reproduction is also happening there. So this type will be called as incomplete parthenogenesis. And later if we see the pedogenetic parthenogenesis. So this is the larva will produce a new generation by parthenogenesis method. So the word pedo you have already learned in the definition where you have learnt about the pedogamy, right? So there what happens, the young individuals which is produced immediately will get fused together. So here the young individuals is the larva, right? So the larva will do this parthenogenesis process and it will get the next generation of larva by the parthenogenesis method. So this type of parthenogenesis we will tell it as a pedogenetic parthenogenesis. So these are the three types of natural parthenogenesis that is being occurring, right? So with this chapter is over. So if you have any doubts, please feel free to ask me. Okay, clear all your doubts. Start preparing for your July monthly test. I want everyone to get good marks in your exam. So you know how to prepare. So 2 mark and 5 mark, whatever possible 2 mark and 5 mark from these two videos that I have posted, please note it down, please mark it and please learn it very thoroughly, right? So I hope you will get good marks in your exam. See you soon in the next class. Thank you, children.